On today's episode of Kitchen to Counter, we try what many say is the best Detroit-style pizza in London. And although they've not been around for long, seem to have taken the city by storm. I'm here to see what this brother-sister duo have everyone talking about. Now, what exactly is Detroit-style pizza? Well, as the city suggests, born in Detroit in the 1940s, baked in rectangular steel pans that were originally used for holding small car parts. Turns out they were perfect for pizza. The perfect size, sturdy, and able to help create those signature crispy cheese walls. Let's step inside Soft Slice and see how this iconic style comes to life from their kitchen to counter. Explain to us a little bit about how the duo was formed and a brief introduction into Sovs.
I'd started making pizzas in lockdown from home. Obviously, I didn't know anything about the business side of things because I'm a chef by trade. So I think she'd come back from Singapore, saw me doing my accounts on a Word document, and was like, "You need help." And that's kind of where we picked up from. Yeah.
I told Sav that he should be a chef. He didn't listen to me, went and studied economics, and then decided to be a chef.
Yeah.
And I'd always sort of told him that I'd go off into finance and come back and invest in the business.
Okay.
I haven't quite invested in the business.
Yeah.
I've been doing it with my time. But yeah, it was kind of always something that we thought of.
How many pizzas would you say you make on a busy day?
So on a busy day, we've made sometimes up to like 130, 150 range of pizzas. Monday, Tuesdays, maybe not as many, but we're hoping to get back to that sort of level, yeah.
And how does that average day look? Like, what time does prep start? And I know with times it varies and stuff, but what would you say generally?
So weekdays we're only open in the evening, so we'll come in around 2:30. Most days there is a mix, because that one mix will give us about 110 pizzas.
Yeah.
So most days we do have a mix. Definitely before the weekend as well, when we're selling over that amount, because we have to make sure we have plenty.
Yeah.
So that will go in. The sauce, which takes about 3 hours to cook, will go in first thing as well.
What's the key to a fluffy dough?
So for me, I think we don't use a lot of yeast, but we use a pre-ferment, and then we use thyme. I think thyme is the key. Letting things go for longer than you'd think. I think when we first started, we would see recipes online and it was like, make your dough in 18 hours or whatever, but I'd always find it to be very dense, like not much air in there. And then just with confidence, I was like, I can leave this for a little bit longer, and the more confident I got at handling it as well, meant I could leave it for a bit longer.
Yeah.
Basically, if you can create a window pane that doesn't rip, you can basically get it like to see through levels of thinness before it rips. It means you've built like strength in the dough, you've built gluten. If when you pick it up, it's like sticky, it rips, then it means your dough is probably not going to be that nice. Yeah.
And is that universal? Like,
I think most pizza people know that trick. So then before taking it out, we also just give it a little spin. That helps it tighten up again. So it'll make it a lot easier to come out, because if you tried to take it out where it just was, it would just be like flopping all over the place.
Okay.
Add a bit of oil. Obviously we put oil in the tins and everything, so this just kind of makes it a bit easier.
Yeah.
When we used to do the Neapolitan style, we wouldn't add as much of the oil, because obviously that is a dough that's meant to be without oil in it. But now for Detroit, we do have a bit of oil, but not in the dough, but just when we're tinning it up and cooking it, basically. We actually use like a significantly larger dough ball size.
Okay.
So that's why the dough is a bit like higher, like our pizzas are slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Obviously they're the same tin size, but they're like thicker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
But they're thicker, but the type of dough we also use is like lighter, so the thickness doesn't really mean that it's going to become super heavy. So also when you're chopping this as well, another little thing which you'll like know that your mix has gone well, if you cut through it and you can start to see like little bubbles, then it means that the yeast is working. It's already starting to ferment, it's already starting to rise. This job that we're doing here of like balling and taking the dough out, when your mix is bad and it's sticky, it's like a much worse job to be doing, you know what I mean? You should be able to take the dough out and not much of it is stuck to the machine. So now we basically just give it a couple of slaps and folds, which is just this kind of motion.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it into like a nice round ball. So we'll do that about four or five times before we actually start cutting and balling.
Yeah.
That's also an important process in building the sort of gluten.
Yeah.
It doesn't all happen there, some of it happens on the table as well.
Does every ball have to be the same kind of weight?
Yeah, so we aim for like a specific weight, and then it's all within like a 2-3 gram range of that. It's just consistency, isn't it? Because like people want to come in, get the same thing every time. I think that's a big thing about hospitality, as well as it's good to do something that's nice. What a lot of people are looking for is a consistent experience every time they go to a place, right?
So what's that you're doing now?
So we're basically forming it into a nice smooth ball. So when it proves in the tray, it'll prove in a sort of uniform way.
Okay.
Otherwise, like if you don't shape them nicely, you'll just have a tray of dough rather than individual weighed out portions to divide from. You see now it's like pretty much like right at the top of the tray. Like now it definitely needs to be tinned up. If the dough looks like this going into the tin, you know it's gonna be like airy, it's gonna be fluffy, because you can see it's well proved.
Do you know like why they use steel pans for Detroit style pizza?
So it's because of like the car workers in the factories,
exactly.
So I think it used to be like what they would keep their tools in, right? And then they started just making pizzas in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite a nice little backstory. These are the like authentic steel pans, the Lloyd pans.
Yeah.
They're not cheap though, so I wish I had figured a remix, because I mean 1 pan and 1 lid on this set is about £26, and we've got
£26 for a set.
One pan and 1 lid.
Okay.
So we've got like 220. So like do the maths. Like, I don't got a Rolex. I don't got a car. I got like £5,000 worth of tins. Like.
Has it got any resale value on it?
I don't know. I haven't looked, but to be fair, the longer you have them, like you see, this is like a tin that's like a newish tin.
Yeah.
This is like a tin that's been like battered and bruised. But these ones, they're like seasoned now. They're like so much better to cook the pizzas in terms of like getting the crust to stick on the sides, taking them out. So they actually do get better with time. But I don't know if anybody's gonna want to buy my old greasy pans. Like, so yeah, as we balled earlier and we, kept it in its portions, like you can see that there's distinct like lines here of where I should be cutting for each portion. So that just makes it easier here, because we don't have to think too much. We just need to get the dough out into the tin.
Once Sav finishes filling the tins with the last batches of dough, we head over to the other side of the kitchen for the baking, decorating and final touches. The dough is part baked first, giving it structure, before it finally meets the cheese.
Why did you use 2 different types of cheeses?
So the thing with the low moisture mozzarella, it gives you the nice crown, but it doesn't have that much flavor. The cheddar obviously has more flavor, but it doesn't give you a nice crown, it burns. So we keep the cheddar in the middle for the flavor, and then the low moisture more for like the aesthetic kind of thing.
How many ingredients go into your tomato sauce?
So I'd say there's about 10 ingredients. Okay. So there's like dry herbs, there's like
you're giving away your secrets.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. There's dry herbs, there's obviously fresh herbs. There's like a few different powders.
Okay.
And then seasoned after it's reduced and cooked a little bit.
So working in Michelin star kitchens, obviously you said you've never worked in one in the UK.
No.
They've all been abroad.
They have all been abroad.
How did that come
I mean,
about?
one was in Scotland, so it was the UK, but it wasn't in England.
How did that come about?
So I think the one in Scotland, I was at uni in Scotland, so it was like just natural for me, because I actually had to finish a module because I was doing economics not very well. So I just applied to a restaurant in that town. I got that job, and it was quite intense. But then my sister was working in Singapore at the time, and there was a restaurant there that was like sort of gaining traction. It looked like a cool place to work. And I just said to my sister, can I come live with you and like try and get a job there? It worked out, and it was a good time to go, because that was the year when they got like 3 stars and were #1 in Asia. So it worked out well. And then after having that on my CV, like I applied to a place in Barcelona, and I got it fairly easily. So it was. It's been mostly abroad, but I think I did want to be abroad because I wanted to also travel a bit when I was younger.
So why pizza then? If you've worked in Singapore, obviously Asian cuisine, Barcelona, why pizza?
It was literally a bit of a sort of circumstantial kind of thing, because I'd come back from Barcelona in COVID, had very little to do. I was just sort of doing the standard messing about with my friends, furlough kind of nonsense. And then my ex-girlfriend at the time gifted me one of those garden pizza ovens for my birthday. And I thought, why not like start just selling to my friends, to my neighbors, like try and do pizza my way with a bit of a sort of like fine dining touch to it.
Yeah.
Started doing that, started getting quite a few orders, became more and more popular. I had my sister helping, my dad was delivering the pizzas, so it was very much like a little family project.
Yeah.
So we did well, and we just sort of progressed from there. And then I think it reached a point where I started to really love pizza and enjoy making pizza and realize that it's more than just a pizza, if you know what I mean.
Okay, let's stop here. All this talk has got me hungry. It's time to put this pizza with a fine dining touch to the test.
Wow, thank you very much. So, I've effectively gone for 3 pizzas today. On the left-hand side, we have the Nduja. There's so much to mention. We've got the jalapenos on top. We have, it looks like a spicy mayo. I'm probably wrong, but I can't remember. There was so much information to go through today. We have 2 different types of meat on there. And then we also have these little they look like kind of like teardrop tomatoes almost. And then on the right-hand side, we have 2 different types. They do half and half here, by the way. We have their version of a margarita, ricotta cheese squeezed on top in like a flower kind of pattern. And then we also have their burrata with pepperoni that is topped with chive oil. You saw about 50,000 chives getting chopped up. It's the oil, sprinkled with chives also, a hot honey, and then just a shower of parmesan on top. So let's start on the left-hand side first. It's such a good looking pizza. And then on the outside, you can see those high cheese walls, those signature high cheese walls. When people talk about Detroit style pizza, straight away, them high cheese walls come to mind. You kind of saw the way he was pressing it against the tin. This here is the finish. But also, don't forget about that interior. That whole process he was talking about there, you saw how long and detailed that whole process was. It results in this visually appealing, but let's see how it tastes. It's everything you want from a first bite. Straight away, we're hit with that heat. There's a sweetness coming through. There's a little smokiness from the meat that's on top as well. Mad, I need to stop saying that. I'm not trying to be too hasty. I'm gonna go in for one more bite. Even with the little tomatoes on top, you get like a kind of burst of flavor with each bite. The flavors are so rich. I actually just had to run off to the back to ask the chef, what is that sauce drizzled on top? Me being me, like I said, spicy mayo or even a burger sauce. But in fact, it turns out it's a chili ranch. Even that tomato sauce. 10 ingredients going into this. It's just packed with all sorts. There is so much going on, but it comes together so nicely. So besides the flavors, when we talk about the actual dough, my teeth just fell straight through it. So fluffy. And then what I love most about this pizza, you know when you have sometimes like a regular, let's say a Domino's for example, or any kind of pizza with no crust like this, you get bored. Some people just leave that to the side. For some, this is the best bit. You get that crunch with every bite as soon as you get to the exterior. It's perfection. That crunch is so satisfying. Next up, we have the burrata. Have you seen a better looking pizza in your life? New kids on the block, but based off that first slice I've just had, could be contenders for sure. I'm staring like a man in love right now. We already know how that tomato sauce on top is moving, but then the burrata on top adds this crazy creaminess, the saltiness from the pepperoni, and it's like the sweetness and the saltiness is really distinctive because you've got the honey that's drizzled on top as well. And me personally, When it comes to sweet and savory, that's me down to a T when it comes to flavors. I love that balance. Based off these first two pizzas, talking to Sav in the back, you can really like tell that he's passionate about what he does, that no detail is skipped, and like the proof is in the pudding so far anyway, based off the first two pizzas I've tried. The dough, the toppings, the flavor profiles, like it just all comes together so nicely. And then finally, we come to a pizza that I normally skip, the margarita. But to me, this don't look like no ordinary margarita. Those little bouquets on top make all the difference. Obviously, people eat with their eyes. Everything is just so visually appealing, including this one. Let's dive straight in. This dough is amazing. Really, really good. And I'm saying it here now. I've had about 4 or 5 different Detroit style pizzas in my lifetime. This is easily top 2. Based off all 3 pizzas I've tried, all very, very different, but all delivering in their own way. One thing that stands out for me is just like how indulgent it is, but then at the same time it's like gourmet. So you're getting, you know, that messy side to a pizza, but then it's also like a classy pizza at the same time. It just hits differently on all levels. I need to have my way with this one off camera, I'll be real.
Now introducing something new to the series. At the end of every episode, I'll ask the chef to come up with one question for the next chef on the following episode.
I got one last question.
Okay, hit me.
What is your question for the next, let's say, guest on Kitchen to Counter?
So I think it's a bit of a... So if they're running a food business as well,
Yeah.
I'd want to know if they could start again with all the knowledge they have now, would they do anything differently?
Okay.
So that's the question. Because I know I do 100
And
things
what would
differently.
you do differently? What one tip for, let's say, an upcoming chef?
I think for a food business, you have to just be patient. Like
Yeah.
it is like a roller coaster. There'll be a lot of downs. And I think many downs before there's ups.
Yeah.
So I think just be patient, and like over time it will all sort itself out. As long as your food is good, of course.
Cool. So, episode 2 wrapped, and I must say that was very, very enjoyable. You can see from the first episode till now, we're not just covering places with history, we're doing the newcomers also. Stay tuned for what's to come next. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace.